Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a simple question. Can your life really change in 6 months? The answer is absolutely, if you stop dreaming and start moving. I was never the smartest person in my class. I failed many times, but one thing I did, I kept learning, I kept trying, and I learned to make the most of the small things. And that's how life changes, not with miracles, but with small, consistent actions. So let me share with you 6 simple things you can do in the next 6 months that can truly transform your life. Not just your career or your bank account, your mindset, your confidence, your future. Most people don't begin, not because they don't have dreams, but because they think they don't have enough. They say, if only I had more money, more time, more experience, more connections. But life doesn't wait for more. It rewards people who move with what they already have. I've seen too many young people hesitate at the starting line. They say, I need a better laptop before I start a business, or I need to take 5 more courses before I'm ready to launch, or I need a mentor before I begin. But let me ask you, what did Steve Jobs have when he started? What did I have when I started Alibaba? We didn't have money. We didn't have tech knowledge. We didn't even have confidence. But we had an idea. We had each other, and we had courage. Don't look down on small things. A phone with internet, a free online course, a friend who supports you, an hour before bedtime. These are your tools. You may think they are not enough, but in reality, they are more than enough to begin. The world has changed. You don't need a factory to start a company. You don't need an MBA to learn business. You don't even need an office. What you need is movement. When I started, I had no background in technology. I couldn't write code. I didn't understand servers. I didn't know how to raise money, but I knew how to talk. I knew how to build trust. I knew how to sell a vision, even if I didn't have all the pieces yet. So I started with that. I gathered a group of people who were smarter than me. I told them the dream, and we started working, not perfectly, not with everything we needed, but we worked anyway. That's what most people don't realize. Perfection is the enemy of progress. If you wait for the perfect conditions, the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, you will still be waiting 10 years from now. But the people who succeed, they just begin. They begin with what they know, who they know, and what they can reach right now. They make progress, and progress opens new doors. You have something right now that can change your life. Maybe it's your mindset, maybe it's a notebook, maybe it's 30 minutes of quiet time, maybe it's your story, but I promise you, you have something. The problem is not the size of your resources, it's the size of your fear. People don't lack tools, they lack belief. Sometimes we think, but what if I fail? Let me tell you, you will. Not everything will work. But that's not a reason to wait. That's a reason to begin faster. The sooner you fail, the sooner you learn, and the sooner you grow. Waiting does not protect you from failure. It only delays your lessons. And don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Don't look at someone with 100 employees, 10 years of experience, and millions of followers and say, I can't compete with that. Of course you can't. Not today. But you're not supposed to. You're supposed to start. Every master was once a beginner. Every big company was once a crazy idea. Every expert was once confused, but they began. They didn't wait to become ready. They became ready by starting. You see, the people who make it, they don't have more luck. They just take more chances. They don't have more talent. They just trust what they have, even if it's small. They say, this is what I've got. Let me make it work. So what do you have right now? Not what you wish you had, not what you hope to get later. What do you have today in your hands, in your head, in your heart? That's where your journey begins. Not in some perfect future, but right here, right now, with the tools already in your pocket. Today, too many people are chasing success without understanding usefulness. Everyone wants to be successful, famous, rich, but very few ask themselves the most important question, how can I be useful? If you're not useful to others, why should they pay you? Why should they follow you? Why should they work with you? It all starts with value, and value begins with skill. I'm not talking about learning everything. I'm talking about learning one thing that makes people say, I need this person. Just one, not 10, not 100. One skill, one thing you can do better than most, one ability that helps people solve a real problem. That's how you build your place in the world, not by being everything, but by being something clear and helpful. When I started Alibaba, I didn't know how to build a website. I didn't know how to code. I didn't even understand the internet fully, but I knew how to communicate. I knew how to explain things clearly. I knew how to sell an idea. That was my one skill. That's what made me useful, not to the world at first, but to the few people around me, and that was enough to get started. You don't need to be the best. You need to be good enough to help someone. Learn one skill that solves a problem. It can be writing, speaking, designing, coding, selling, organizing, fixing, teaching, anything. Just make sure it's something that creates impact for others. People don't care how many certificates you have. They care whether you can help them with something they care about. If you can do that, you are valuable. Many people spend years chasing passion. They say, I'm not passionate about this skill. Let me tell you something honest. Passion comes after skill, not before. When you become good at something, when people thank you, when opportunities open up because of your ability, that's when you start to feel passion. So don't wait to feel inspired. Get good at something first, and inspiration will follow. The world is full of noise. Everyone is online, talking, scrolling, complaining, but the ones who move forward are the ones who are doing. And to do something well, you need a skill. You need to be able to say, this is what I bring to the table. If you can't answer that, then the first thing you need to do is find that skill and sharpen it like a knife. Make it strong, make it sharp, make it simple and clear. You don't need a university degree to learn a skill today. You have YouTube, you have Google, you have free online platforms. There is no excuse. The tools are there. The only difference is between people who use them and people who just scroll past them. Every day you don't practice a skill is a day you miss an opportunity, because the future will belong to those who can do something real, not talkers, doers, builders, problem solvers. And remember, it's not about impressing people, it's about serving people. The skill you choose should not be about making you look good. It should be about helping others do something better. That's how you become useful. That's how you become needed. When people think, I can't do this without you, then you've made yourself valuable. And once you're valuable, the money, the respect, the opportunities, they all come later. You don't need to have a perfect plan, you just need to start. Pick one thing, not 10 things. Don't jump from one course to another every week. Focus, go deep, spend 30 minutes a day, every day for 6 months, and see how far it takes you. Because it's not talent that creates success, it's usefulness. And usefulness is built by mastering one real skill that people can count on when it matters. Many people think working hard means sleeping less, eating fast, and always being busy. They think success is about hustle, working 20 hours a day, sacrificing weekends, missing birthdays, skipping rest. But that's not smart. That's not sustainable. Working hard is important, yes, but it's not about burning out. It's about using your energy wisely. When I was young, I believed in hard work. I still do. But I've also learned that hard work without direction is just motion, not progress. And hard work without energy is dangerous. You cannot give your best if you are always tired. You cannot make clear decisions if your mind is always cloudy. Working hard is not about being busy. It's about being effective. It's not how long you work. It's how well you work when you do. Some people are proud to say, I only sleep 4 hours a night. I ask, why? What did you create with the other 20 hours? If you are not focused, not calm, not sharp, those extra hours mean nothing. What's the point of being awake if your brain is asleep? Your value doesn't come from exhaustion. It comes from clarity, from good judgment, from making smart moves at the right time. I've seen many entrepreneurs who start strong. They push hard in the first month, no breaks, no balance, and then after 3 months, they collapse. Their health suffers, their relationships break, their creativity dies. Why? Because they confused intensity with discipline. Working hard doesn't mean killing yourself. It means respecting your energy like it's your most precious resource, because it is. Think of yourself like a phone. If you never recharge, what happens? The apps don't run. The screen freezes. Eventually it shuts down. You are the same. You need to recharge physically, mentally, emotionally. You need sleep. You need silence. You need time away from the noise. That's not laziness. That's maintenance. That's what allows you to show up strong every day. Go to bed late. Take calls at all hours. But I learned quickly, if I'm not well, the company is not well. If I'm tired, my team feels it. If I'm stressed, I make poor decisions. So I began to respect my energy. I started saying no to unnecessary meetings. I took time to walk, to read, to think. And the more I did that, the better I became at solving real problems. Success is not about who works the longest hours. It's about who lasts. And to last, you need to manage your energy like a professional. Not just your physical energy, but your emotional energy too. If you are always around negative people, always under pressure, always angry or afraid, your energy drains faster than you realize. You must protect your mindset like you protect your wallet. Guard your focus like you guard your passwords. Your attention is your power. Don't waste it on noise. This doesn't mean take it easy. No, it means be smart, be deliberate. Work hard during your hours of focus. Truly work. No distractions, no half effort. Then disconnect. Rest with purpose. Move your body. Eat well. Sleep deeply. Think like an athlete. An athlete doesn't train 24 hours a day. They train, then recover, then train again. That's how they grow stronger, faster, sharper. You need the same cycle. Effort and recovery, drive and renewal, push and pause. It's easy to glorify being busy, but being busy is not the same as being productive. Real work happens when you're present, not when you're overwhelmed. So learn to listen to your body. Learn to notice when your mind is tired. Take breaks before you crash. Say no before you're stretched thin. Be strict with your time, but generous with your energy when it counts. So many people spend their lives thinking, planning, dreaming, but they never build. They talk about their ideas, they imagine their goals, they write long to-do lists, but nothing gets created. No action, no product, no real progress. You can read all the books, take all the courses, watch all the videos, but until you build something with your own hands, nothing really changes. You don't need to build a company on day one. You don't need to create the next big invention. Just build something, a blog, a YouTube channel, a small business, a portfolio, a simple app, a website, an Instagram page that helps people. It doesn't matter how small it is. What matters is that it becomes real, something you can touch, something people can use, something you can show and say, I made this. People often ask, how do I build confidence? I tell them, confidence comes from creation. When you take something that only existed in your mind and you bring it into the world, you begin to believe in yourself. You don't need applause. You don't need permission. You need to see proof that you can take an idea and turn it into something that lives outside of your head. That's where belief is born, not in theory, but in action. In the early days of my journey, I didn't have much. But I built. I built small websites. I built presentations. I built teams. I built trust. Every little thing I built gave me more energy to keep going. Even when I failed, and I failed many times, the process of building gave me strength. It taught me what worked and what didn't. It taught me who I was and who I was not. Because when you build, you learn by doing, and that's the fastest way to grow. You see, most people are stuck because they want to build something perfect. They want to have the best logo, the perfect launch, the flawless product. But perfection is not the goal, what progress is. You don't need to build the final version on the first try. You just need to begin. You can improve later, you can upgrade later, but start now. Start with what you know. Start with what you have. Start with who you are today. There's something magical that happens when you finish something. Even something small. Maybe it's just a one-page website. Maybe it's a short ebook. Maybe it's your first online store. But when it's done, when it exists, you gain momentum. You prove to yourself that you are not just a consumer, you are a creator. You stop saying someday and start saying, I already did this and now I can do more. And don't wait for other people to join you. If nobody supports your idea, build anyway. If nobody claps for you, build anyway. The beginning is always quiet. You don't build for fame and you build for growth. You build to get better. You build to learn. The people who win are not the ones with the loudest dreams. They're the ones with the most finished work. That's what separates the talkers from the doers. Even if you fail, even if nobody buys it, even if it goes unnoticed, it's still a win. Because now you've gained experience. Now you have a story. Now you know more than the person who's still thinking, still planning, still doubting. And the next thing you build will be stronger, faster, better, because you built the first one. So many doors open when you create something. People take you more seriously. Opportunities find you. You attract collaborators. You gain clarity, not because you said the right things, but because you've done something, because you've shown the world and yourself that you're willing to take your ideas seriously enough to turn them into reality. Many people today are following the wrong people. They scroll through social media, watching billionaires on yachts, influencers in luxury suits, motivational speakers on big stages. They follow celebrities and think, this is success. But let me tell you something. Watching success is not the same as learning how to build it. You don't need another role model to admire. You need a mentor who can actually guide you through the dirt. When I was younger, I didn't need someone rich and famous to inspire me. I needed someone who could sit with me even for 5 minutes and say, don't make that mistake again. Do this instead. That kind of advice is more valuable than 1,000 YouTube videos full of motivational quotes. Because mentorship is not about inspiration, it's about instruction. You see, celebrities are easy to admire. They look successful. They sound successful. They show you their cars, their houses, their perfect lives. But you don't know what's real. You don't know what's fake. You don't know how they started, or what struggles they hid, or what shortcuts they took. You're chasing a story, not a system, and that can make you feel worse, because the more you watch them, the more you think, why am I not there yet? But a mentor, a real mentor, they are close to you. Maybe they're not famous. Maybe they don't have 1 million followers, but they've walked the path you're trying to walk. They've made mistakes you haven't made yet. They've learned things the hard way, and now they can help you avoid those same holes in the road. They don't care about showing off. They care about helping you grow. Sometimes your mentor isn't older than you. Sometimes they're just 1 or 2 steps ahead. That's enough. Don't wait to be mentored by someone at the top. Look for people who are reachable, who are still close to the ground, who remember the struggle. They are often the best teachers, not because they're perfect, but because they still remember what it feels like to be lost. And here's another truth. Mentorship is not always formal. It's not always a big program or a coaching contract. Sometimes mentorship happens in small conversations, a lunch with a manager, a message from someone who's done what you're trying to do, a book written by a real entrepreneur who tells you the truth, not just the highlights. Don't wait for a perfect mentor. Be humble enough to learn from anyone who knows more than you. But don't confuse mentorship with entertainment. Just because someone is popular doesn't mean they can help you. Just because someone is loud doesn't mean they are wise. Don't follow people because they are visible. Follow them because they are valuable to your journey. A mentor doesn't make you feel jealous. A mentor makes you feel capable. They give you tools, not envy. And when you find someone who can teach you, listen. Don't just ask them, how can I be successful? That's too vague. Ask better questions. How did you solve this problem? What would you do if you were me? What's the one mistake I should avoid? Ask with humility, respect their time, apply what they say, show results. That's how mentorship grows, not through flattery, but through action. Also, be ready to outgrow mentors. One day, the person who helped you get from level 1 to level 3 may not be able to take you to level 10. That's okay. That's growth. Keep learning, keep evolving, and when you reach a point where you have something to teach, become a mentor yourself. Because the world doesn't need more followers. It needs more people willing to pass on what they've learned honestly, patiently, quietly, with the same spirit that helped them rise. Success is not a one-time explosion. It's not a lottery ticket, not a magical breakthrough. Real success is the result of small actions, repeated with discipline, improved with reflection. Most people focus on speed. How fast can I get there? But the smart ones focus on direction. Am I even going the right way? That's where reflection comes in. If you never stop to look at what you're doing, you'll keep repeating the same mistakes. You'll work hard but stay stuck. You'll be busy but not effective. That's why one of the most powerful habits you can develop is to pause once a week and ask yourself, what did I do? What did I learn? What can I do better? You don't need a fancy journal, and you don't need an app. You just need 30 quiet minutes. Maybe on Sunday night, maybe early Monday morning. Sit down. No phone, no distractions. Just you and your thoughts. Ask yourself the hard questions. Be honest. Not emotional, honest. Look at your actions like an outsider. What worked? What didn't? What patterns do you see? The goal is not to judge yourself. The goal is to understand yourself. Because when you understand what's really happening in your life, you gain control. You stop reacting. You start improving. It's not about doing more. It's about doing better. People often ask me, how do I become more productive? So my answer is simple: reflect more. Because when you reflect, you notice the wasted time. You see the conversations that drained you, the projects that went nowhere, the habits that held you back. You realize where your energy is going, and then slowly you begin to redirect it. Don't wait until the end of the year to reflect. That's too long. By then, you've already forgotten what happened in February. You've already lost 11 months. Instead, make it a weekly habit. At the end of each week, ask yourself 3 simple questions. What did I do well this week? What did I do poorly? What can I do differently next week? If you do this every week for 6 months, you will be a different person. Not because you made one giant leap, but because you took 26 small steps, each one slightly better than the last. That's how real change happens. Quietly, gradually, consistently. And then comes the daily part. If weekly reflection is the map, daily improvement is the walk. Every day you apply one small change from your reflection, just one. You don't try to fix everything at once. You focus. Maybe today you respond to emails faster. Maybe tomorrow you spend 10 more minutes on deep work. Maybe the day after you listen more carefully in meetings. Tiny shifts, but when added up, they compound. Improvement is not always exciting. Sometimes it's boring. Sometimes it feels like nothing is changing. But if you trust the process, you'll look back one day and realize you are sharper, faster, calmer, more focused, not because of luck, because of deliberate adjustment. I know people who work hard, but they never grow because they never stop to ask why they're doing what they're doing. They just keep running. And when you run without thinking, you end up tired, not successful. Reflection gives your effort a direction. It turns motion into progress. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to win every day. But if you reflect weekly and improve daily, you will always be ahead of the people who just work harder without thinking smarter. It's not about avoiding mistakes. It's about noticing them quickly, adjusting, and trying again with better eyes, better habits, better focus. That's how you move from where you are to where you want to be. That's how growth becomes a system, not a wish. In just 6 months, you can completely reshape your life, not by chasing perfection, but by committing to progress. Start with what you have. Learn one valuable skill. Work hard, but protect your energy. Build something real, no matter how small. Find mentors who guide, not impress. Reflect weekly, improve daily. These actions may seem simple, but done consistently, they create unstoppable momentum. Success doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to those who move with clarity, discipline, and heart. 6 months of focused action can do more than 6 years of wandering. The time to start is now. Thank you for listening.
They taught you math, they taught you science, but they never taught you how to survive when life punches you in the face. In school, they grade you on memorization. In life, you get graded by your actions. And no one teaches you that if you're waiting for life to be fair just because you follow the rules. Let me wake you up right now. Because what school never taught you is the only thing that can make you truly successful. Thank you all for being here. I know many of you grew up being told that education was everything, that school is the foundation of your success. But let me tell you something that you won't find in any textbook. Real life doesn't care how many degrees you have. It only respects what you do with what you've learned. School prepares you to pass exams. Life prepares you to pass challenges. They are not the same. In school, you're taught to avoid failure. In life, failure is the curriculum. You fail the test, you're punished. You lose marks, you get labeled. But in life, every failure is a gift. The best lessons are hidden inside pain. The most valuable education doesn't come from success. It comes from getting back up after you fall. You don't learn resilience by scoring 100%. You learn it by scoring 0, crying, bleeding, and still trying. You were taught to memorize but never taught how to think, how to question, how to doubt, how to look at something and say, why is it like this? Can I do it differently? In school, asking questions might make you look stupid. In life, asking the right question can make you a millionaire. Innovation is born from doubt, not obedience. They never taught you how to manage rejection. In school, you fear disapproval. You're desperate for acceptance. But the real world will reject you 1,000 times before it ever accepts you once. You'll be told no by investors, employers, even friends. You'll be laughed at for your dreams. That's okay. It's part of the training. Every no brings you one step closer to the yes that changes everything. You were trained to be a worker, not a leader. Do what you're told. Follow instructions. Don't step out of line. But the people who change the world are the ones who don't listen to those rules. They follow their heart. They take risks. They step into the unknown. In school, you're rewarded for being quiet. In life, you're rewarded for speaking up. They taught you what to think, but not how to live. They never taught you how to survive when your business failed, how to act when you're betrayed, how to keep going when the money runs out and your friends disappear. But that's the real syllabus of life. They told you to get a job. They never told you how to create one. School teaches you how to be employable, but it never teaches you how to create opportunities for yourself or others. The entrepreneurs, the builders, the creators, they don't wait for someone to offer them a salary. They create value, and the world pays them for it. No one taught you the most important skill, emotional intelligence. You can be brilliant on paper and completely broken in real life. If you don't know how to manage your anger, control your fear, stay calm in crisis, you will lose no matter how smart you are. The world doesn't belong to the smartest. It belongs to the most emotionally stable. School gives you answers. Life gives you questions. And here's the biggest one. What do you really want? Not what your parents want. Not what your teachers want. Because life will only reward you when you stop living someone else's dream. They never taught you how to build wealth. Not how to invest. Not how to grow your money. Not how to build assets that work for you while you sleep. School taught you how to, but it never taught you how to escape the paycheck-to-paycheck trap. Real education begins when you understand how money works. No one told you how lonely the journey would be. When you try to build something great, you will be alone. Friends will doubt you. Family will question you. Society will laugh at you. But here's the truth. The higher you climb, the smaller the crowd. Don't be afraid to walk alone. That's where growth lives. They never taught you how to deal with time. You waste your youth trying to please others, and then you wake up at 30 or 40, wondering what happened to your dream. School taught you how to meet deadlines. Life demands that you master timing, and timing only rewards those who take action early. You were taught to chase certificates, not skill, but the world doesn't pay for certificates anymore. It pays for problem solvers. It pays for communicators. It pays for people who take action. No one cares where you studied. They care about what you can do. They never prepared you for disappointment. You'll work hard and still fail. You'll give your heart and still be hurt. That's life. The ones who succeed are the ones who expect pain and use it as fuel. Disappointment is not a dead end. It's a redirection. You were never taught how to market yourself. You could be the most talented person in the room, but if no one knows you, it doesn't matter. You have to learn how to communicate, how to package your value, how to share your message. Your voice is your weapon. Use it. They didn't teach you how to dream big. They told you to be realistic. But realistic people don't change the world. Dreamers do. You need to unlearn the limitations that were taught to you. Break the ceiling. Build your own sky. Because dreaming small is more dangerous than failing big. You were taught that being wrong is shameful. But in life, being wrong is how you get better. The people who admit mistakes grow. The people who hide them repeat them. Don't fear being wrong. Fear being stagnant. They never taught you to bet on yourself. In school, you wait for permission, for a grade, a title, a pat on the back. But in life, the only permission you need is your own. Believe in your vision, even if nobody else does, especially if nobody else does. You were taught how to answer questions, but not how to solve problems. In the real world, problems are messy. There's no formula, no neat answer. Success comes from those who can take chaos and create clarity, who can take pain and create power. You weren't taught how to adapt. The world is changing fast. Technology, business, communication, everything shifts. Those who survive are not the strongest. They are the most adaptable. Adaptation is the new intelligence. You were never taught how to lead. Leadership is not about position. It's about responsibility. It's about service. It's about vision. A leader doesn't wait. A leader initiates. If you see a problem, don't complain. Fix it. You were never taught to value your time. You waste hours scrolling, gossiping, procrastinating. But time is the only currency you can never get back. Spend it like your life depends on it. Because it does. They never taught you how to love yourself, to forgive yourself, to accept your flaws, to believe that you are enough, even when you're not perfect. Self-worth is the foundation of success. Without it, nothing else matters. You weren't taught how to take risks. You were taught to be safe, to play small, to follow the rules. But success lives outside the comfort zone. Risk is not the enemy. Regret it. Until you take full ownership of your life, you'll always be waiting. So here's the truth. School may have educated your mind, but life will educate your soul. School gave you a degree. Life will give you direction. If you're willing to learn from failure, from pain, from rejection, from trying again and again and again, until the day you realize you didn't need a perfect system. You needed relentless belief. You didn't need a map. You needed courage. You didn't need someone to choose you. You needed to choose yourself, because the greatest diploma in life is earned through the choices you make when no one is watching. So stop waiting, start building, and remember, school taught you lessons, but life makes you wise, and wisdom is the real success.
You know what's funny? Most people don't fail because they're not smart enough. They don't fail because they're not talented enough. They don't even fail because they don't have resources. No. Most people fail before they even start. That's the truth nobody likes to hear. They fail in their head. They lose the game before they've even stepped onto the field. They convince themselves it's too hard, too risky, too uncertain, and so they never take the first step. And the first step is everything. Let me tell you something. Hesitation feels safe. It feels smart. You think you're avoiding mistakes by waiting, but hesitation is like quicksand. The longer you stand still, the deeper you sink. And here's the worst part. You can be busy and still be stuck. I've met people who can write a 50-page business plan, design a perfect logo, choose the right color palette, even make a website, but they haven't sold one product. They've confused preparation with progress. That's like polishing a car that never leaves the garage. It's shiny, but it's going nowhere. People hide in preparation because it's comfortable. Starting is uncomfortable. Starting means facing the possibility of looking stupid, failing in public, and realizing you're not as good as you thought. And most people can't handle that idea. So they stay in the thinking about it phase forever. But comfort zones are prisons. They might feel safe, but they keep you locked away from growth, opportunity, and the life you could have. Then there's perfectionism. Perfectionism sounds noble, but it's fear in disguise. You say, I'll start when it's perfect, but perfect never comes. The market changes. Technology changes. You change. Your definition of perfect keeps moving, and you never actually launch. The truth? You have to start when it's messy. You have to start when you're not sure. You have to start when it's incomplete. Because what you think will make you ready comes only from the experience of doing. Think about a baby learning to walk. They don't sit there saying, I'll try after I watch a few more videos. No, they get up, they wobble, they fall, they cry, and then they try again. If babies thought like adults, most of us would still be crawling. Somewhere along the way, we learned to be afraid of falling, but falling is how you learn. Another killer of action is the need for approval. You have an idea. You tell your friends, your family, strangers online, and you wait for applause. And when the applause doesn't come, you take it as a sign your idea isn't worth it. but your friends aren't your customers. Your family isn't your investor. People's opinions do not determine the value of your dream. The only way to find out if something works is to take it to the real world. Do you think the first person who sold coffee in a paper cup got applause? Probably not. People probably said, "Why would I buy coffee in a paper cup when I can make it at home?" But they kept going. Now coffee to go is a billion-dollar industry. Your dream doesn't need universal agreement. It needs you to make it real. And here's another trap: overthinking. Overthinking is like running on a treadmill. You feel tired, but you're in the same place. You analyze so much you paralyze yourself. You study every possible outcome, but life doesn't care about your perfect analysis. Life rewards action. When you move, you learn. When you act, you get feedback. When you start, you can adjust. But if you stay in your head, the world moves on without you. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. You just need to see the step in front of you. Momentum works like this. You take a step, the next one appears. Once you're moving, you meet people you wouldn't have met. You see opportunities that weren't there before. You gain confidence because you're no longer imagining, you're doing. But momentum has an enemy: doubt. And doubt is sneaky. It doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers, "Maybe tomorrow," and tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year, and next year becomes never. You have to act before doubt talks you out of it. The biggest mistake: people try to guarantee success before they start. "I'll start if you promise me I'll succeed." That's not how it works. Nothing is guaranteed except that if you do nothing, you'll get nothing. Think about a farmer. He plants seeds knowing some won't grow. He doesn't wait for 100. He plants anyway because he knows there's no harvest without planting. And here's the dangerous illusion: waiting to feel ready. You will never feel ready. Readiness is an illusion. Confidence comes from doing something over and over. Inspiration comes from progress. Capability comes from practice. If you wait to feel ready, you'll die waiting. The only way to be ready is to start before you're ready. Then there's the myth of the big break. People imagine that one day someone will knock on their door with the perfect opportunity. But opportunity doesn't knock. It's out there waiting in the places you're afraid to go. It appears when you're already moving. If you're standing still, you won't even see it. And let's talk about excuses. Excuses are lies we tell ourselves to protect our comfort zone. They sound reasonable. "I'm too busy. I don't have the right skills. I'll start when things calm down." But here's the truth: you will never have more time. You will never magically feel more talented until you use what you have. And life will never fully calm down. The best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is right now. People think they need everything lined up before they start. They think they need the perfect equipment, the perfect connections, the perfect plan. No, you don't need everything. You just need enough to take the first step. Do what you can with what you have, where you are. I've seen people build businesses from a laptop on their bed. I've seen people start fitness brands with nothing but a park and a camera phone. The difference isn't resources. The difference is resourcefulness. And remember, small beginnings matter. Your first video will be awkward. Your first sale will be slow. Your first speech will be shaky. But you can't get to version 100 without starting at version 1. People connect with progress, not perfection. They want to see you grow, but they can't see it if you never start. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 2. Every master was once a beginner who refused to quit. Comparing your start to someone else's finish will kill your motivation before you take a single step. And criticism, oh, that's a big one. People don't start because they fear judgment. But here's the truth: people will judge you no matter what. Whether you do something or do nothing, there will be critics. So you might as well do something worth talking about. Yes, some will laugh, some will doubt, some will hope you fail. But those people won't live your life. They won't pay your bills. So why should they control your choices? The people who make it aren't braver than you. They aren't smarter. They just decided they weren't going to wait. They started when they were scared. They started when they were unsure. And because they started, they figured it out. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be willing. Willing to look foolish. Willing to fail. Willing to try again. Willing to keep going when everyone else has stopped. Stop waiting for someday.
Someday is not on the calendar. Start now. 1 year from now, you could be somewhere amazing, or still exactly where you are now. The difference is whether you take the first step today. So here's my challenge. Start something this week. Write the first page. Record the first video. Sell the first product. Train the first client. Whatever it is, take the smallest possible step toward it. That step will change you. It will shift your identity from thinker to doer. And once you're a doer, everything changes. Fear will still be there. Doubt will still be there. But you'll be moving, and movement kills fear faster than anything else. You'll realize the wall in front of you was just a shadow. You'll realize the limits you thought were real were just stories you told yourself. One day, you'll look back and realize that the moment you started, that tiny, imperfect, uncertain step, was the moment your life began to change. And you'll be grateful you didn't wait for perfect timing, because perfect timing never comes. The world belongs to the ones who start. Not the smartest, not the richest, not the most talented, the ones who start. So start. Start scared. Start messy. Start without knowing exactly how it will turn out. Just start. Because the only guarantee is this. If you don't start, you've already failed.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I tell you anything today, let me give you a truth most people don't like hearing. 98% of people fail. Not because life is unfair, but because they keep choosing the comfortable lie instead of the uncomfortable truth. Let me show you what I mean. Every morning, your alarm rings, and in that 3-second window, destiny gives you two options. Become the 2% or become the 98%. And what do most people do? They slap the snooze button. Let me give you a relatable example. Have you seen people who buy a treadmill in January? They spend money like they're building a home gym empire. For 2 days, they run like they're preparing for the Olympics. Day 3, they hang clothes on it. By day 7, the treadmill is not equipment anymore. It becomes a very expensive hanger. This is the story of the 98%. They get excited easily. They quit even faster. Meanwhile, the 2%, they have the same problems, same fears, same laziness, same Netflix temptations. But they treat their goals like a crying baby. You can ignore it for a moment, but eventually you must get up and handle it. Look at Lionel Messi. Even with insane talent, he still practices free kicks after training when everyone has already gone home. Look at Taylor Swift. The reason she's dominating the world is not luck. She writes songs daily, edits endlessly, rehearses every detail of her shows for months. They all had one thing in common: consistency when nobody was watching. That is how you join the 2%. Think about this. Someone says, I'm going to learn editing. They watch 10 tutorials, but they don't practice even one clip. They want to become experts without doing the boring reps. Or someone says, I'll save money. Day 1, they save. Day 2, they save. Day 3, they see a discount on shoes. Now their entire financial plan collapses. Most people stop because of 3 killers: excuses, emotions, and ego. Excuses tell them not today. Emotions tell them, I don't feel like it. Ego tells them, I already know this. That is why they stay exactly where they are. Look at people winning today. Not the superstars, everyday people. The friend who quietly goes for a 20-minute walk every day and suddenly loses weight without posting anything. The student who studies just 1 hour daily and ends up topping the exam while everyone else panics the last night. The person who saves small amounts every month while others wait for a perfect time that never comes. These are the silent, unglamorous habits that build the 2%. Meanwhile, the 98% keep waiting for motivation like it's a bus. If I feel inspired, I'll start. If you wait for inspiration, you will wait your whole life. Ladies and gentlemen, success isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It's not fireworks. It's the small choices you make when no one is watching. That's what separates the 2% from the rest. And now, let's break down how those small choices completely transform a life. Ladies and gentlemen, now that you understand the tiny choices that separate the 2% from the 98%, let's go deeper. Because people don't fail overnight. Failure creeps in slowly, quietly, one small choice at a time. Think about it. Someone decides, I'm going to improve my health. They buy a yoga mat, download a workout app, and get ready to crush it. Day 1, full energy, full effort. Day 2, still okay. Day 3, maybe just 10 minutes. Day 4, the yoga mat becomes a laundry rack, and the app collects digital dust. Or someone says, I'll finally start saving money. They save $10 today, $10 tomorrow, and then a friend invites them out. Or a good deal appears online, and suddenly the entire plan disappears. Or take learning a skill. YouTube has thousands of tutorials. People watch 10 of them, and then they feel like experts. But when it comes to practicing even a single thing, suddenly, it's too hard. This is the 98% inaction. Small habits slowly eating away progress. Meanwhile, the 2%, they don't wait for motivation. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They just show up day after day, even when it's boring. Look at someone like Chris Hemsworth training for Thor. He didn't magically wake up looking ripped. Every day, he followed a grueling routine, sometimes when he didn't feel like it. The results came after consistency, not excitement. Or take Emma Chamberlain, the YouTuber. She started with tiny videos, often messy, with almost no audience. But she posted every single day, learned editing, learned camera angles, and slowly became one of the biggest creators. Or even look at someone closer to us, your quiet neighbor, who wakes up every day and takes a 20-minute walk. No posts, no likes, just movement. After months, their health improves dramatically, while everyone else waits for the perfect time or perfect motivation. Here's the point. The 2% don't need more time than you. They just use the same 24 hours differently. While the 98% wait for the perfect mood, the 2% build routines that don't depend on mood. While the 98% are controlled by comfort and emotions, the 2% control their environment, remove distractions, and take responsibility for their habits. Because here's the truth. Your future isn't built on inspiration. It's built on your daily defaults. If your default is scrolling, you'll live a scrolling life. If your default is excuses, you'll live an excuse-filled life. If your default becomes small, consistent action, you'll join the 2% before you even notice. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2% don't try to be superhuman. They just stop letting comfort control their life. And once you do that, everything starts to change. Next, I'll tell you the single mindset shift that turns ordinary people into the 2%. And it's simpler than you think. Ladies and gentlemen, by now you know that small choices separate the 2% from the 98%. But there's one thing most people completely miss. It's not just about doing things, it's about thinking differently. Most people fail because they think success will just happen. They think they'll get fit by wishing. They think they'll get smarter by hoping. They think they'll be rich by scrolling on TikTok and imagining it. Here's what actually happens. The 98% say, I'll start tomorrow. And then tomorrow becomes next week, next month, next year. For example, you know someone who says, I'm going to cook at home and eat healthy. Day 1, they buy all the groceries, post a photo on Instagram. Day 2, they make a salad, but add cheese, croutons, and dressing the size of a small planet. Day 3, they're back to ordering pizza like nothing happened. Or the person who says, I'm going to finally clean my email inbox. They delete 20 emails, then get distracted by one funny meme. By the time they notice, the inbox has 5,000 unread emails again. Or the person who says, I'm going to finally talk to that client, ask for a raise, or pitch my idea. They scroll TikTok for 30 minutes, then scroll Instagram, then scroll YouTube, and the opportunity disappears, leaving them frustrated. Meanwhile, the 2% do something simple but powerful. They act immediately, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, even if they feel nervous, lazy, or scared. The 2% understand. The magic isn't in big moves. It's in tiny actions repeated daily. Think about a content creator who wants to grow on social media. Instead of waiting for perfect lighting, perfect editing, perfect ideas, they post a small video every day, even if it's messy. Slowly, their audience grows. Slowly, doors open. Slowly, momentum builds. Or someone learning a language. Instead of waiting for a weekend class, they spend 5 minutes every morning practicing phrases on their phone. By the end of the month, they can actually speak basic sentences, while the 98% are still planning to start. Even ordinary people show the difference. The neighbor who waters plants every day, quietly, ends up with the most beautiful garden on the street. The friend who journals for 5 minutes daily becomes mentally sharper than everyone complaining about stress. The colleague who takes tiny notes on every task improves faster than the one trying to cram all work at once. Ladies and gentlemen, This is the mindset of the 2%. Action beats motivation. Tiny steps beat excuses. Consistency beats inspiration. And here's the truth. You don't need a perfect plan, a perfect mood, or perfect conditions. You just need to start today with something so small that it feels almost ridiculous. Because that's exactly how momentum begins. Next, we'll look at the exact daily habits and routines that turn ordinary people into the 2% and how you can start them tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, by now you understand the mindset that separates the 2% from the 98%. But mindset alone isn't enough. It's the daily habits, the small things that actually create results. And the truth is, these habits are often boring, tiny, and almost invisible. But they stack up like interest in a bank account, silently building your future. Here's what the 2% do differently. First, they track small wins every day. Not big, dramatic milestones, tiny victories. It could be replying to one important email, clearing 5 items from a to-do list, or drinking 1 extra glass of water. These small wins feel insignificant, but they build momentum. Second, they eliminate distractions. Ever notice how most people spend 30 minutes checking emails, 20 minutes scrolling Instagram, 40 minutes watching YouTube? Meanwhile, a simple 5-minute action could have solved the problem entirely. The 2% turn off notifications, set timers, and protect their focus like a secret weapon. Third, they create micro routines. Instead of, I'll exercise for an hour, they do 10 push-ups in the morning. Instead of, I'll read a book, they read 1 paragraph on the bus. Tiny, repeatable actions that feel easy, but over time explode into results. Fourth, they learn in tiny bites. Instead of spending hours trying to master 1 skill at once, they spend 15 minutes a day consistently. Learn 1 new word. Write 1 line of code. Draw 1 sketch. A little every day adds up to mastery. Fifth, they review and reflect daily. The 98% never look back, they just complain. The 2% check what worked, what didn't, and adjust tomorrow. Even 5 minutes at night can prevent months of wasted effort. Let's make this relatable. Your friend wants to get better at cooking. The 98% watch TikTok recipes all day. The 2% pick 1 recipe, cook it, mess it up, try again tomorrow. A month later, they're hosting dinner parties. Your colleague wants to be more organized. The 98% plan endlessly, never starting. The 2% spend 10 minutes every evening tidying 1 corner of the desk. A month later, their workspace looks amazing without drama. Your neighbor wants to save money. The 98% wait for the perfect paycheck. The 2% save $2 every day automatically. A year later, they have money they didn't even notice growing. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the secret. The 2% don't have more talent, more time, or more luck. They have better habits. Small, simple, consistent habits that everyone else ignores. And the best part, you don't need to do everything at once. Pick 1 tiny habit. Do it today. Repeat tomorrow. And watch your life slowly but steadily start shifting. Next, we'll talk about the final step that turns all these habits and mindset into unstoppable success. And it's simpler than you think. Ladies and gentlemen, we've talked about mindset, habits, small actions, but now comes the final piece of the puzzle. The step that separates the 2% from everyone else. Here it is, ownership. The 2% take full responsibility for their life. They stop blaming traffic, their boss, the economy, or the Wi-Fi. They stop waiting for someone to hand them motivation or opportunity. Think about it. Someone's work email explodes. The 98% complain, panic, and scroll memes instead of acting. The 2%, they tackle it. 1 email at a time. By the end of the day, they're ahead. Not just surviving, but winning. Or someone wants to improve their social skills. The 98% say, I'll wait until I feel confident. The 2% start talking to 1 person, even awkwardly. Every small conversation stacks up into confidence. Even in everyday life, the 2% schedule their week. They plan meals, workouts, bills, and small wins. The 98% hope it works out. Guess who has results? Here's another one. Your phone is full of unfinished apps, unread notifications, half-written messages. The 98% get stressed and ignore it. The 2% clean 1 app, answer 1 message, finish 1 small thing. Tiny wins everywhere, stacking like a secret superpower. And this is the most important part. Ownership turns your habits into momentum. Because once you own your choices, you stop letting excuses run your life. You stop letting laziness control your day. You stop letting comfort be stronger than your dreams. The 2% aren't perfect. They fail, they procrastinate, they get distracted, but they take ownership immediately, fix it, and keep going. Here's the truth. Everything in your life today, your health, your money, your skills, your happiness, is the result of the tiny choices you've made consistently or ignored. So here's the final challenge. And it's simple. Pick one small action today, just one. Do it, own it, repeat it tomorrow. And before you know it, you've joined the 2%. Ladies and gentlemen, the difference between the 98% and the 2% isn't talent, luck, or opportunity. It's the courage to take small actions every single day and take full ownership of your life. You already have everything you need. All that's left is to start. And remember, the moment you start, you're no longer part of the 98%. You're in the 2%. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, people always ask me, what's the real secret of life? Success, happiness, money, peace? And I always say, my friend, if life had a manual, half of us would still ignore it and press all the wrong buttons. Because life isn't difficult, it's just designed like a smartphone, with all the important features hidden in the settings menu. You think you know what's going on until suddenly, boom, life updates itself, crashes twice, and asks for your password. So today, I want to talk about something nobody teaches in school. The hidden laws of life. These 7 laws control everything. Your relationships, your money, your self-worth, your energy, even your mood when your Wi-Fi stops working at the best part of a movie. And the funny thing, these laws are working whether you know them or not. Just like gravity. So let's start with the first law. This one changed my life, my business, my friendships, everything. And I promise you will recognize it immediately in your own life. First law is the law of unconscious mirrors. This law says something very simple. People treat you exactly how you secretly treat yourself. Not how you pretend, not how you act on Instagram, not how confident you look in selfies. No, it's all about how you feel about you when nobody is watching. Let me explain. Have you ever noticed how some people walk into a room and immediately everyone respects them, even though they didn't say a single word? And then someone else comes in, talking loudly, showing off, and still nobody takes them seriously. Why? Because confidence is not volume. Confidence is not clothes. Confidence is not even a deep voice or expensive perfume. Confidence is an energy that says, I respect myself first. If you agree, good. If you don't, I still have lunch to eat. People can smell your insecurities faster than fresh coffee. They don't judge you by what you say. People can smell your insecurities faster than fresh coffee. They don't judge you by what you say. People can smell your insecurities faster than fresh coffee. They don't judge you by what you say. Confidence is not volume. Confidence is not clothes. Confidence is not even a deep voice or expensive perfume. Confidence is an energy that says, I respect myself first. If you agree, good. If you don't, I still have lunch to eat. People can smell your insecurities faster than fresh coffee. They judge you by what you believe about yourself. You can pretend to be strong, but inside, if you think I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't deserve better, life will reflect exactly that. It's like standing in front of a mirror every day and saying, why does this mirror keep showing me the same face? My friend, try changing your face, the mirror will change automatically. Let me give you a relatable example. Have you ever been in a relationship where the other person gave you the bare minimum and you still thank them like they gave you a kidney? You know why that happens? Because your self-respect is on airplane mode. Or let's say you're at work. 2 people ask for a raise. One person believes deep inside, I deserve this. The other believes, I hope they don't fire me for asking. Guess who gets the raise? Life is always scanning your internal beliefs and then matching them. Just like how TikTok shows you videos based on what it thinks you like, your life shows you results based on what it thinks you believe. So the first law is simple but powerful. Upgrade how you treat yourself, and life will update how everyone else treats you. Treat yourself like you matter. Speak to yourself kindly. Show yourself some respect. Walk like you have value even if your bank balance disagrees for now. Because the world is a mirror. Whatever you believe, it reflects. And once you understand this law, life literally starts responding differently. New opportunities appear. Better relationships show up. Respect becomes normal. Confidence becomes natural. So, Fix the mirror? No. Fix the person standing in front of it. Second law is the law of silent exchanges. You know, people think business is all about contracts, numbers, meetings, presentations. But actually, the biggest negotiations of your life happen without a single word being spoken. This is the second hidden law. Every relationship, personal, professional, romantic, even family, is an exchange. But the real deal happens silently. Most people don't even realize what they're giving away. But life keeps charging them full price. Let me explain it in simple terms. When you enter any interaction, you're always trading something. Your energy, your attention, your confidence, your boundaries, your value, your time. But the funny thing is, the trade happens before you even speak. It's like a shop where the price tags are invisible. But somehow everyone knows exactly how much you are worth based on how you show up. Let me give you a business example. I once sat in a meeting with a guy who offered a brilliant service, but he kept shrinking in his chair like the meeting room rent wasn't paid. Quiet voice, nervous smile, "I hope this is okay for you," and the client instantly treated him like a discount item. He lost the deal, not because of the service, but because of the energy he traded. The silent exchange was, "I'll give you my value, and in return, you give me approval." Wrong deal. On the other hand, I met a guy selling a very basic idea, but he walked in like the world was waiting for him. Not arrogant, just grounded. He sat tall, listened calmly, and didn't rush. Before he even opened the slide deck, the client already respected him. That's the law. People don't negotiate with your words, they negotiate with your presence. Now let's take a relatable example. Because not everything is boardrooms and coffee cups. Think about friendships. We all have that one friend who calls only when they need something. "Bro, I need money." "Bro, I need your car." "Bro, I need your charger." My friend, are you a human or a mobile phone with low battery every day? But the reason they keep taking is simple. At some point, silently you agreed to a bad exchange or relationships. When someone disrespects you and you say nothing, that silence is a transaction. You just traded your peace for their comfort. Even family has silent exchanges. Every family gathering has that one uncle who wants to give you career advice, even though his own career is hiding somewhere in the basement. But we listen politely, because rejecting advice from an elder requires courage we only have when someone cuts the line at KFC. Now, why is this law so important? Because once you understand it, you stop giving away your value for free. You start noticing who drains your energy, who respects your time, who keeps taking without giving, who treats you better than you treat yourself, who is buying your silence at the cost of your peace, and most importantly, what you are unconsciously offering in every room you enter. Some people offer confidence. Some offer neediness. Some offer clarity. Some offer chaos. Some offer leadership without saying a word. Some offer, "Please like me," before they even shake hands. These silent signals determine everything. Your salary, your relationships, your opportunities, your influence, your destiny. Let me give you one last story. A young guy once asked me, "How do I make people take me seriously?" I told him, "You don't ask people to take you seriously. You show up in a way that charges people to take you seriously." He didn't get it. So I said, if a customer sees you respect your own time, they stop wasting it. If a partner sees you value your own work, they stop underpaying it. If a team sees you believe in your own vision, they start believing too. If you don't treat your value like a bargain sale, nobody else will either. That's the law of silent exchanges. You are always trading, even when you don't speak, especially when you don't speak. So from today, make sure every silent exchange works in your favor. Make sure your presence speaks the value your words don't need to explain. Because the world is always making deals with you. The question is, are you aware of the terms? Third law is the law of invisible momentum. There's a moment in every business, every career, every dream where you look up at the sky and say, "Hello, universe, are you on lunch break?" Because nothing seems to be moving. You work, you push, you sacrifice, and life whispers back, "Try again tomorrow." This leads us to the third hidden law. Momentum builds long before it becomes visible. Success happens underground before it shows up above the surface. Let me explain it in the simplest way. If you plant a seed and stare at the soil, nothing happens for days. But beneath the dirt, the seed is exploding with activity. Roots are forming, cells dividing, structure building. You don't see it, but if you stop watering it, you kill a plant that was already growing. Now let me translate that into real life. Ever feel like you're working hard, but getting nothing in return? Congratulations, you're in the underground stage. This is the part nobody talks about. Everyone loves the overnight success, but they forget it takes 1,000 nights before that. Think about businesses. Most companies don't fail because they had a bad idea. They fail because the founder quit during the invisible phase. Right when things were building, they walked away. Or take careers. You do good work for months, nobody notices. You bring ideas to your manager. They say, interesting, which in corporate language means, I will forget this in 7 seconds. But then suddenly one unexpected day, you get called into a meeting and here, we've been observing you, you're ready for more. Observing? When? Where? How? Even your salary didn't observe you for months. But that's how momentum works, quietly, silently, secretly. Now let's talk about relationships, because yes, this law applies there too. You think your kindness today doesn't matter, your respect doesn't matter, your effort doesn't matter, but invisible momentum is building. Trust, comfort, connection. And one day someone tells you, I really appreciate you, and you're shocked because you thought they didn't even notice. Now the funny part is this. When nothing is happening, most people question themselves. Maybe I'm not capable. Maybe I'm not lucky. Maybe I'm wasting my time. My friend, maybe your success is just in stealth mode. Let me give you a business-style story. 2 salespeople were given the same list of 100 clients. Both made calls for 3 weeks. For the first guy, nothing. 0. Not even a polite rejection. Then suddenly, on week 4, he closed 3 deals back to back. The second guy quit on day 10 and said, there's no opportunity here. Same list, same effort, different patience. People think the first guy got lucky. No, he built invisible momentum. Every unanswered call was pushing him closer to the breakthrough. This law teaches one powerful truth. If you stop when nothing is happening, you lose everything that was about to happen. So the next time you feel stuck, remember, life might not be slow. It might just be building something for you behind the scenes. Keep going. Don't stop watering your seed. Don't quit in the silent phase. Your momentum is building even if you can't see it yet. 4th law is the law of energy debt. And this one is the silent killer of dreams, confidence, productivity, even happiness. It's called energy debt. And the law is this. Everything you do costs energy, and most people are going bankrupt without realizing it. See, money debt is obvious. You can see the numbers. You can see the bill. You can see the late fees, and your heart rate increases automatically. But energy debt, that one is sneaky. You feel like you're living a normal life, but inside, your battery is dying faster than a cheap Android phone on 2% brightness. One of the strangest things about life is that everyone keeps telling you to be patient. But no one tells you that patience itself has a personality. It's not passive, it's not soft, and it's definitely not sitting on the sofa waiting for the universe to send you a gift basket. Real patience is more like strategy. It's knowing exactly what you want, but also knowing when not to panic. Like a person who forgot their wallet at a restaurant. I learned this from very random, everyday moments. Like the time I went to buy groceries and saw 2 types of people at the counter. One person tapping their feet like they were about to declare war on the cashier because the line was moving 0.3 seconds slow. And another person calmly standing there, scanning the candy rack like they were doing deep market research. Guess which one had a better day? The one who didn't let a 5-minute delay turn into a lifetime personality trait. That's how the 4th law works. Life delays things not to punish you, but to prepare you. But most people treat delays like disasters. You miss one opportunity and suddenly you're acting like your entire career is being held hostage. You send one email and don't get a response for 3 hours, and your brain starts whispering, they hate you. You're finished. Pack your bags. Relax. They probably just went to lunch. The funny thing is, the world actually rewards the person who doesn't freak out. The calm one in the room becomes the trusted one. In business meetings, I've seen people lose deals simply because their desperation was louder than their words. But the person who waits, observes, listens, doesn't force things. Somehow that person always walks out with the upper hand. Why? Because patience signals confidence. And in life, confidence is currency. Even in relationships, this law shows up. Your friend calls you and says, bro, I'm done. She didn't text me back for 2 hours. 2 hours? That's not a tragedy. That's a normal human being living their life. But we treat every pause like it's sabotage. We rush, overreact, chase, push, panic, and then wonder why things fall apart. Sometimes the best move is not to move, not because you're lazy, but because you're letting the situation reveal what it really is. If the opportunity is real, it will stay. If the person is genuine, they won't vanish. If the path is right, it won't collapse just because you took one calm breath. The truth is, most progress happens quietly. A seed doesn't shout while growing. A cake doesn't scream while baking. Even your phone updates silently, except when it decides to restart at the worst possible time. Life is like that. When nothing looks like it's happening, something is happening. So the hidden law is simple. If you don't learn to hold yourself steady in waiting seasons, you'll make panic-driven decisions that cost more than the delay ever would. You don't need to move faster. You need to stop assuming every pause means you're in the wrong story. Sometimes life isn't saying no. It's just saying, not yet. Don't mess this up. You know, there's a hidden rule in life that most people never realize, but it quietly controls who shows up in your life, the mistakes you repeat, and the patterns you can't seem to break. I call it the law of emotional gravity, and that is the fifth law. Basically, the unresolved feelings, fears, and habits you carry are like invisible weights pulling you back to the same situations, the same people, and the same problems until you actually deal with them. Think about it. How many times have you met the same type of boss who undervalues you, the same type of client who takes more than they give, or the same type of friend who drains you emotionally? And every time you promise yourself, next time will be different, somehow, there it is again. That's emotional gravity at work. Your past unhealed patterns are silently pulling you back. This isn't just life being mean, it's life being consistent. Life doesn't punish you. It simply ensures you learn the lesson you've been ignoring. And the lesson often isn't about the other person, it's about you. Until you deal with the underlying feelings, insecurities, and habits, the same type of people and situations will keep showing up like a stubborn software update you can't skip. Even in business, this shows up all the time. You take on clients who always pay late because you never addressed your own fear of confrontation. You keep working with employees who never deliver because you never set boundaries. You repeat bad partnerships because you didn't examine your role in them. The universe doesn't care about excuses. It mirrors back the energy you bring and the issues you ignore. And the funny part is, it's often small things in daily life that reveal this law. You keep picking the same kind of restaurant that never serves food properly. You scroll through social media and notice you always compare yourself to the same type of people. You enter arguments with family or friends and end up saying the same words over and over. Until you understand why, emotional gravity will pull you into the same loops. The good news is, once you finally decide to face what's inside your fears, your insecurities, your patterns, everything changes. Suddenly, the people you attract, the opportunities that come, and the results you get start shifting. Life stops repeating itself because you're no longer pulled by what you didn't resolve. You start walking forward instead of being dragged backward. So here's the secret. Pay attention to what keeps coming back in your life. Not as punishment, not as coincidence, but as a signal. That's your emotional gravity. Fix the root, change the patterns. And suddenly, everything starts moving differently. You'll notice new doors opening, new people showing up, and new chances appearing, all because you finally dealt with what you were carrying inside. There's a very sneaky rule in life that most people never notice, but it basically decides how much respect you get, how much money comes to you, and even how seriously people listen when you speak. I call it the law of perceived value. And that is the sixth law and flaw. And here's the truth. Life doesn't give you what you deserve. It gives you what people think you're worth. And the crazy part, sometimes you're the one telling them the wrong price. Think about it. How often do you see someone with an average idea getting millions of dollars because they walked into the room like the world had been waiting for them? And then you, with a brilliant plan, slouch in, mumble a bit, and suddenly everyone treats you like you just brought expired milk to the meeting. Why? Because you didn't signal value. You didn't make people believe they should care. And it's funny how we sabotage ourselves without even knowing it. You send an email like, I hope this is okay, instead of, here's the solution you need. You apologize for being on time, for being honest, for having an opinion. You undercharge for your work because you secretly believe, maybe I'm not worth it. Newsflash, if you signal low value, life will happily charge you the low value price. Even small things matter. Walk into a coffee shop and watch people. The person who orders confidently, makes eye contact, smiles, gets extra cream. The person who stammers, whispers, apologizes for existing, gets stale coffee, and maybe a side eye from the barista. Same drink, different energy. Same principle, perceived value. Now, in business, this law is hilarious but deadly. I once met a guy pitching an app that could literally change the way people travel. He sounded unsure, kept saying, "It's probably okay, I don't know if you'll like it," and investors nodded politely, then moved on. Another person pitched a simple to-do list app like it was the second coming of productivity itself, walked out with $2 million. That's the law in action. People pay attention to confidence, not just competence. Even in relationships, this is everywhere. You know that friend or partner who treats you like a priority while you're busy acting like a doormat? Yeah, you're signaling low value, and the world is just matching the signal. People rarely treat you better than you treat yourself. Rarely. And if you don't fix that, they'll keep giving you the discount version of respect. So if you've been wondering why nobody takes you seriously, why money feels slow, why opportunities pass you by, check your energy, check your signals, stop underpricing yourself in every interaction. Life mirrors what you project. Raise your perceived value, and life will adjust. It's not arrogance, it's math. And the best part, once you understand this law, you stop wasting time convincing people you're worth it. You simply act like it. And suddenly, everything that should come to you starts finding you faster than someone grabbing the last piece of pizza at a party. You know, there's one final hidden rule in life, and this one is like the caffeine of all the other laws. I call it the law of action bias. Basically, the universe doesn't hand out rewards to the person who waits perfectly, plans perfectly, or waits for the stars to align. It rewards the person who moves, who acts, who dares to make a decision, even if it's messy, imperfect, or slightly ridiculous. Think about it. How many times have you said, "I'll start tomorrow"? Tomorrow never comes. And then you feel like life is stuck, like the world is holding its breath, waiting for you to magically figure out the perfect plan. Meanwhile, the person who's a little messy, a little unprepared, but actually does something, is already 3 steps ahead, collecting results, while you're still overthinking the color of your PowerPoint slides. Even in daily life, this law is hilarious. You want to meet someone new, but you rehearse your words for 3 days, overthink every gesture, and by the time you open your mouth, the opportunity is gone. You want to try a new skill, but you watch 5 tutorials, read 10 blog posts, and binge watch motivational quotes. Still, your hands never touch the work. Life isn't waiting for perfect. Life responds to motion. This law is everywhere in business. The startups that launch with half-finished apps, the writers who publish messy drafts, the speakers who give talks without memorizing every word, they win. Not because they're perfect, not because they're flawless, but because they took action when most people were still stuck planning, worrying, or waiting for permission from the universe. And the universe, it loves courage disguised as movement. Even relationships work this way. Waiting for someone to magically notice you, waiting for the perfect timing, waiting until you feel ready. While you're frozen, life is moving on, and someone else is showing up, talking, acting, living. Action creates opportunities. Hesitation creates nothing but regret and awkward stories you tell at parties. And here's the fun part. Action doesn't have to be heroic. It can be tiny, almost ridiculous, and still powerful. Sending that email, picking up the phone, saying yes to a small opportunity, starting a morning routine, even if you're tired or scared, that's action. Momentum begins the moment you move. Life loves movement. The universe is basically a fan club for people who do. So here's the final truth. Waiting for permission, waiting for perfect timing, waiting for clarity, these are illusions. The world moves for those who act. The universe rewards motion, not hesitation. Every dream you have, every opportunity you want, every skill you desire, none of it will come to life until you step in and do the work. Even if it's messy, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's hilarious. And the most beautiful thing, action is contagious. One small move inspires confidence, builds momentum, signals value, and attracts results you couldn't have planned for. You think you're taking a tiny step, and suddenly the world starts moving with you. Doors open, people show up, opportunities multiply. Your life starts responding to your courage in ways you couldn't imagine. So don't wait, don't overthink, don't hope. Move, start, fail, learn, repeat. The world will notice and the universe will reward you. Not because you were perfect, but because you dared to act. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.